Then he actually said, "What type of blood did you give me?" Let's just not tell the review board. Hey, what's up? Dr. Spunk and Butter here. And today, well, we're going to be doing that amazingly cool tracking technique that you see in that new Mindhunter show on Netflix.
Sir, you need to calm down. You need to stay still.
So that was my interpretation of Mindhunter Season 2, Episode 1. They did a really cool tracking technique in post that really gives you that sense of disorientation, makes you feel like you're part of someone who's just not feeling right. And it has to do with tracking a point and not tracking the camera. And it's really cool. This is the clip from Mindhunter Season 2, Episode 1 that I copied.
I need you to calm down. Look at me. Breathe slowly.
So as you can see in there, it just felt really off. There's something not quite right. And if you didn't quite click to it, they're tracking a part of his face and keeping it still against the camera where everything else is moving. And this is done in post. It's quite simple. And we're going to dive into that right here. All right, we're going to start here in Premiere, and we're going to use the footage in its native resolution because you're going to lose a little bit of resolution if you nest it. So I shot this in 5K, and I want to use the full 5K for the actual movement tracking. And so we're going to do it this way. So we're just going to right click, and we're going to choose New Sequence from Clip. We've got a sequence here, and we're going to go in and we're going to trim it up. Let's see where I say action. And action. Yeah, and action. That seems like a perfect time. And we're going to go in, and then we're going to cut when I say cut. Okay, cut. And I raise my head up. That's just genius. We'll just go here, this much. So we're going to take, well, we'll just trim. We don't need to do this all day, so let's just trim this down. All right, now we've got our clip here. So we're going to right click on here, and we're going to say replace with After Effects composition. And when you do that, it's going to bring it up in After Effects, and it's going to ask you to save it. I've already done that, so that's why it's not showing up here. We are going to use, this is 3 different clips here, but actually just 2 of these are audio. As you can see, audio, and one of them is visual. We're going to be using the visual. So we're going to come in here, and you can see it plays just fine. I did shoot this in widescreen, which is great because we're going to use that little extra resolution. And now we're going to come over and stabilize motion. Now, when you do stabilize motion, and this is a trick I've learned from several people, but Citycom had this trick as well, and we always like to give a shout out to our friends over there. So if you click on options, you have this option down here as to what happens if the confidence is not good, that it's tracking properly. It would normally continue tracking. Set this to stop tracking because it'll just stop and say, hey, what do you want me to do? All right, now we're going to take the tracker here, and there's 2 boxes. So this first box is the search area, and the second one is what you're going to be tracking. The bigger you make these, the longer it's going to take to search. But I'm going to use this just amazingly bright glint on my nose, and I'm going to bring it down to there. And then we're just going to track once forward and just make sure it starts to track. Yep, it did. And then we're just going to go analyze forward, and we'll just speed this up as it goes. All right, well, we're going to look right here. You can see it didn't track it. It lost it. So this one right here, we're just going to grab it, and we're going to replace it right there. And we're going to go ahead and just track forward until it starts to capture again. Good. 1 frame at a time. Feeling good. Let's just go ahead and advance. All right, that is done. And you can see here, yep, got a good track on that. So all we need to do now is apply it, and X and Y is correct. Yep. Now, if you watch, you're going to see it jump out. So what you want to do is find the point where it jumps the most, which was right there. And then drop down to transform and scale it up until it just pops out right there. And now, when we play it back, you can see it is tracking and moving, but it still stays in frame. We are good there. Remember to save. So just real quick here while we're still in After Effects, if you need to make any changes to the RAW codec, like I'm shooting in Red RAW so I can make changes to it, you need to do that in After Effects, because once it's linked, you can't do it in Premiere anymore. So we're going to go to our footage right here, and we're just going to reveal it in our project. It's this top one right here. We're going to right click on it, and we're going to choose Interpret Footage, and then Main. And if we go down here to more options, now we have our camera raw. And all I wanted to do in here was change my color temperature to about 6300. Kind of gives it a little more yellow. I'm using Film Color, which is by Phil Holland. It's his LUT pack for red, and it's spectacular. And this one, Sparrow, actually looks really close. It's not bad at all. So we're going to go in here and add a small S-curve to it. Also, we're going to go down here and change this to medium. Yep, and then we're going to just bring it down just ever so slightly. There we go. We say OK, do a quick save. And if we go into Premiere, they are now correct. And you can do this on both a locked off shot on a tripod, or if you're hand holding it, it won't matter. I recommend that you use a shutter speed that is 90 degrees, or you can go a little bit lower if you'd like. But 180 will have a little too much motion blur for your tracker, and it can produce undesirable results and make it even more difficult to track. So use a 90-degree shutter, and that'll help make it just a little bit better. But there's your finished product. So I hope that was easy to follow. It wasn't that difficult, actually. It's a lot of fun. You don't want to use it on everything, but it is something that really can be used to help sell a feeling of distress, a strong emotion of disorientation, or just something is not right. We've seen it many times before, but David Fincher he puts those small little tweaks in there. Mine is quite drastic, but his is very subtle, and it's just enough to throw the mind off. And that's what we wanted to show today. So I hope it really helps. So as always, if you have any questions or comments, do feel free to put them in the comment section down below. I do try to read and respond to each and every one. Also, I do have a Patreon if you wish to support me that way. I do appreciate it. Please try to go out there and just give a little bit. It really does help. Also, remember to click subscribe to this channel, because we want you to be a part of it. Give me a thumbs up if you liked it, thumbs down if you hated it. So as always, as I like to leave it, don't let your passions center around your life. Let your life center around your passions.